Welcome, everyone. Welcome to session 3 of the podcast guesting masterclass. I am your host, Jessica Rhodes. I am the founder and co-owner of Interview Connections. We are the world's first ever and done for you podcast booking agency. Over the last 12 years, we have booked over 30,000 podcast interviews. We have had the pleasure and honor of representing more than 800 entrepreneurs who have partnered with us to get booked on podcasts and meet their visibility goals. Over sessions 1 and 2, I taught you the foundational elements of podcast guesting. Session 1 was all about how to lay a strong foundation for your podcast guesting strategy. Some of the biggest takeaways that we've been hearing on calls and in the chat is, setting clear goals, having a podcast one sheet, really identifying that exact target audience so you're on the right shows. And then yesterday in session 2, we talked about the strategies for monetizing. I spent a bit of time on really your relationship with the host of the show. I cannot tell you how many of our clients have told us that they've gotten their return on investment because of the networking that happened with the host of the podcast, either before or after the interview was actually recorded. I was just on a consultation call this morning and I shared with the person I was talking to, I said, one of our clients, John McDonald, he owns an agency called The Good, and he was on a podcast, and the host of that show was organizing an event at YouTube headquarters. And he said, I loved our podcast interview. I'd love for you to be one of the speakers. So that was just through a host relationship, doing a great interview. It led to him going to YouTube headquarters and speaking, which is an amazing opportunity for a marketing agency owner. So that is the power of podcast guesting and really going on the right shows, networking with the host. And then, of course, we talked about how to monetize your visibility by using a call to action to motivate listeners to reach out and join your email list and book calls with you. So session 2 is all about monetizing. Now, a lot of podcast guests who don't take this masterclass and learn from Interview Connections and work with us, they stop there. They're like, I'm going to go on podcasts and I'm going to monetize my visibility. But then they miss out on this amazing opportunity to actually repurpose your interviews, actually repurpose and leverage this thought leadership content that is created for you. And I say is created for you because when you're on a podcast, the host of the show, them and their team are going to edit it. They're going to produce it. They're going to make it sound amazing. They're going to publish it. They're going to send you assets to use to promote it. They do so much work to make you look good. So as the guest, what you want to do to make the most of the opportunity and to get the biggest ROI from podcast guesting is actually repurpose these interviews, make the most of them, leverage them. So today's session is all about how to repurpose your interviews and use this content throughout your sales and marketing strategy so you can see a bigger bang for your buck in podcast guesting. So let me know if you're excited for the tips today to talk all about repurposing your podcast interviews. Now, we want to invite you to book a call because everything I'm teaching you, I'm going to be giving you so much value today, so many tips that you can go implement. But quite frankly, if you are not actually getting interviewed consistently on podcasts, these tips are kind of pointless. You won't have anything to repurpose if you're not getting interviewed. And so for a lot of folks, the missing piece is actually just getting booked. You now have the strategies, you have the goals, you have written some of your interview topics, you know what your call to action is, you're going to learn today how to repurpose, but if you're not actually getting booked, you can't really do much with this information. And so that is why at Interview Connections, we offer a done for you service. This masterclass is a free opportunity to learn because we want you to learn and we want you to understand how this is going to grow your business. And we're here to help implement it for you. Let's actually get you booked. So when you work with us in the Amplified Authority program, we'll book you on 30 podcasts, guaranteed. If we take you on as a client, it's because we know we're going to get you on 30 podcasts that are targeted and quality and speaking to your ideal clients. We are also going to design your podcast one sheet and put together a guest expert media kit. So all of the marketing assets that you need to look good to host, to give the host what they need to be set up for success, we're going to put that together for you. We're going to give you 2 interview audits. So when you work with us, when your interviews start going live, when they start getting published, your main point of contact is going to audit one of your interviews. We'll actually listen back and hear, what are the stories you're sharing? How are you kind of engaging and interacting with the host of the show? What's your call to action? How are you delivering your call to action? We're here as that coach on the sideline to actually make sure you're playing the game to the best of your ability. Because what happens a lot in marketing is people are like, I'm great. The social media posts are great. The interviews are great. Why isn't it working? Let's actually listen and find out, So that's why we offer you 2 interview audits. We also are here to coach you. Like, if you have loved this masterclass and you're like, these are such great tips, I love this. We host group coaching calls every single week for our clients in the Amplified Authority program. I host monthly celebration calls. So when you get a success, an ROI, a new client, a host books you to speak, you're going to come and share it with other members of the client community to keep the energy focused on the wins and the growth that you're experiencing from podcast guesting. And then every quarter, we bring everyone together for a client networking call. So there's a lot of opportunities to network and get to know other business owners in the community. Our Amplified Authority program is $17K, or you can do a payment plan, 10 payments of $1,850. We are offering a discount. So if you are in this masterclass and you sign up, you make your investment by Monday at midnight. So you have through the end of the month, which is also the end of Q1. So let's get it done here in Q1 so you can have the rest of your year guaranteed visibility. We're going to take $1,000 off. So it brings it down to $16K, or 10 payments of $1,750. Everyone who signs up during the masterclass is going to get the equipment bundle, the microphone, the mic stand, the headphones, the ring light, like everything you need equipment wise. We're going to send that to you as a bonus. And then we have a couple of paid in full bonuses as well. So if you pay in full, you're going to have our team, we're going to write your one sheet for you. So your bio, your topics, your questions, we're going to do that for you. And then we do have another bonus for paid in full. So what I shared yesterday is that the first 3 people to pay in full, I will personally do a 3rd interview audit for you. So you get 2 in the program. And then if you're one of the first 3 people to pay in full, I will also do one of your interview audits. One person signed up yesterday and paid in full. So there are 2 more opportunities to claim this bonus. I have been helping entrepreneurs leverage podcast guesting for 12 years. My interview audits are like the best in the world because this is all I do. Podcast guesting is my expertise. I founded this industry. I've been helping thousands of entrepreneurs over the last 12 years leverage podcast guest appearances to grow their business. So if you're one of the next 2 people to pay in full, I will personally listen to one of your podcast appearances and give you that customized feedback to help you be as successful as you can with podcast guesting. So your next step is to book a consultation call. Go to interviewconnections.com/call, grab a time on our calendar so we can talk and make sure that the program's a good fit for you and get all your questions answered. So interviewconnections.com/call. All right, so now we're going to dive into today's session. Make sure you have your workbook or a notepad. Full transparency if you're confused. So in our workbook, I have it right here. You are going to actually go to day 4, session 4, because we flipped it around. We used to have this session on the 4th day and now it's on the 3rd day. So I realized I didn't edit that, but all you have to go is day 4 and you're going to have the workbook page for the session. So everyone have their workbook ready to go. Let's kick things off. So I want you to give me a yes right now. I know maybe not everyone relates to this, but if social media marketing is a little bit of a thorn in your side, like who here is like, has a kind of a complicated relationship with social media? Like you do it, you have to, you're kind of not super consistent with it. Love, hate, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm killing it. I'm going on live. And then a week goes by and you're like, oh no, God, I haven't posted on Instagram in a week. And what am I doing here? And so who here has a love-hate relationship with social media, or maybe just a hate relationship with social media? So, or maybe you love it, but you're just like, okay, I feel like I've said everything. All right. So let me know in the chat, because we're gonna give you some tips here. So the great news about being a podcast guest is that it fuels your social media content creation before, during, and after your podcast interviews. So here are 4 different ways to post on social media as a podcast guest. Number 1, before the interview. So I am going to share all this in the context of like, if you're working with Interview Connections. So when we book you for an interview, what that's going to look like is that we're going to send an email introducing you to the podcast host who has said, yes, I would love to have Jack on the show. So we'll make an email introduction and you would then click their meeting link and schedule the recording. And so at that moment, you're like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Take that excitement and post it on social media. All right. So what I will do is I will go on to Instagram and I'll see where the host is. If the host is on Instagram, then I'll do it there. If they're more on LinkedIn, they're not on Instagram, I'll do it there. But either way, both if you can. So what I'll do is I'll find the host and I'll make sure I'm following them. So I'm connected. And then I'll do a little story. I'll just hold up my phone and I'm like, hey, I'm so excited. I just got booked for an interview with such and such host on this show. I'm so like, I'll post it when it goes live. But in the meantime, like follow the host and get connected. So that's a really simple way that you can be promoting the fact that you're getting booked on podcasts and you are showing the host that you are an engaged guest. All right. You're showing the host that you are somebody that is going to actively participate in helping to grow their show and bring your audience to their podcast. That is one of the reasons podcast hosts have guests on their show is they see it as a collaboration opportunity and they see it as a way to cross promote, right? If they bring a guest onto the show, they know they're going to get great value from that guest, but they also assume that that guest is maybe going to bring some of their audience to the podcast and it ends up being a win-win. So you can do that on Instagram. You can also do that on LinkedIn. Hey, so, just do a little post. So excited. I'm getting booked on this podcast. Check out the show. Here's the host. Antonia says, I hate the idea of writing captions, hashtags, and tags daily. Yes, absolutely. So keeping activity, like fresh activity in your marketing strategy is what makes it really easy because I'm telling you that if you are not actively doing things to get out there and be visible, it does feel stagnant. It feels they're like, God, what else can I say about my topic? But when you're being interviewed about it and you're talking about it and people are expressing interest, you're like, ooh, like the energy is flowing and people want to hear about this. And so it does make it easy to create fresh content. It could be similar. Like you could be saying something similar, like, oh, we're going to talk about this topic, but because somebody's interviewing you about it, it just feels a little bit more exciting. Why this is also important is that because the host is seeing that you're actively participating and promoting their show, when you get to that podcast recording, they're going to be pumped to have you. I was interviewed on a podcast a few weeks ago. And of course, I did this. I did a little post. I followed her. I tagged her. She was beyond thrilled. Her name is Michaela Starr. And she was like, of course, we're talking about podcast guesting in the interview. So she's saying all this like in the interview. She goes, I love everything about your process from how your team pitched me to the email introduction to how you promoted the show even before you were on the podcast. Like she was beyond thrilled. And like most hosts, she has a lot of interviews pre-recorded. So it wasn't like my interview was supposed to go live the next day. She already had recorded a lot of interviews. And she's like, I'm going to publish your episodes sooner. Like I want this to come out sooner. And that is truly what will happen is when you are showing the host that you're somebody that's likely going to promote the episode, they want to put your episode out sooner. They're not going to make you wait 6 months for your turn in the queue. They'll be like, well, if I post Jessica's episode, she's probably going to promote it because she already has, which means I'll grow my audience more. So this is a way to get some social media content on your platform and to also really nurture your relationship with the host of the show. Noelle says you have to be an influencer to get the results of one. Yeah. And, I think a lot of people in that regard, like, I don't know if this is what you meant, Noelle, but a lot of people will think like, well, I don't have that big of following, like not that many people watch my story. It doesn't matter. Like you have to start speaking, like you have to just start speaking and posting as if a lot of people are watching you. Like, I don't, I've been putting content out there and marketing for over a decade, but in the beginning, it's like nobody's watching, you don't have an email list, but you speak, you keep providing value, you get visible to new audiences and the audience grows. And the more interesting and relevant your content is, like when you're showing fresh content and fresh stories, people want to watch. If you're just posting the same little graphics and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, same old thing. But if it's something new and exciting, people do want to watch and they take note of that. Yeah, you are your own channel. You've got to get out there. So that's number one. Number two, day of the recording. So very simple. You've got your, you sign up and work with us. We're going to send you your headphones, your microphone. You're going to have your lighting. You're going to look amazing. And you're going to do a post like I'm about to record an interview. You take a photo of yourself and actually put that photo online and tell your audience, like, I'm about to record this interview with this host. Here's a link to their podcast. I'll share the episode when it goes live. This is also going to invite incoming interview requests. Our client, Christina L. Woods, who will be here in session 4 tomorrow, she's going to share her podcast guesting success story. When she first signed up with us, like she took our masterclass and she signed up and she was super nervous and she was like, I'm just going to do everything they tell me because I want this to work. And she posted on social media about getting booked on a podcast. And somebody saw that post, somebody in her audience already, somebody that follows her on Facebook, reached out and said, hey, I saw that you're getting on podcast. Do you speak? Because I'm looking for a speaker for my retreat. And she's like, yes, I do. So she was hired to speak at a retreat, goes to that retreat, gets clients from the retreat. So simply by posting that you're getting interviewed, you are sending a message out to your audience that you are a speaker, that you're in demand. People want to talk to you. People want your information. They want your value. They want your content. That's going to invite more opportunities in. So post the day of the recording as well. Also, immediately after the recording, you can go live or post like a video story sharing like, hey, I just did this podcast. We talked all about this. I shared this story. Like tell people what just happened. People love behind the scenes. They love seeing what's happening now. I know for me, I mean, everyone likes different content, but as a consumer of content on social media, I get a little tired of like the headshots that someone took at a glamorous photo shoot once a year. I'm like, all right, yeah, you look amazing. But like, what's happening today? I want to see what's happening now. That's what your audience is desiring. They want to hear from you today. So do a little video, do a little story, let people know what's going on. What did you just talk about? Who did you just speak with? People are going to follow you and want to engage with you more when they see that things are cooking, right? Like we've got gas in the engine. We're going places. We're doing things. Like when things are stagnant, people are like, all right, I don't know what's going on over there. But when you're like, I'm out here speaking, I'm doing this interview, I'm doing this, like there is a different energy in your business and your marketing when you are making moves. So talk about it on social media. It's going to be huge. And then of course, when the interview goes live, promote the episode, drop a link to it. The host will often give you templates and clips to use. But later in this session, I'm going to show you how to use some really cool AI tools to actually do that on your own if they just give you a link to the episode. So I want you to write these down in your workbook. There's some places on your workbook here to write down like social media content, post to social media when, share a selfie with your, go live on social media. Like write this down because I'm telling you in a few weeks when you kind of back to real life, you're gonna be like, oh God, social media. But like I am telling you things that you can do. So implement it, take action, write it down, don't forget about it. And what you focus on and what you talk about grows. So if you talk about getting booked on podcasts, if you talk about the fact that you're going on podcasts, that you're speaking on podcasts, that you're making new connections, more people are going to want to connect with you. It's going to invite those inbound requests in. So I want you to give me a yes right now. Who's going to do this? Who's going to start posting on social media when they're booked? Who's going to start posting on social media when the interviews are about to be recorded right after when they go live? Tell me yes if you're going to start implementing and taking action. These are simple strategies. Like I'm not telling you to do anything that's rocket science. Like this is simple, but simplicity moves the needle if you're consistent with it. Okay, good. Yes, yes, yes. There's 88 people here. I should have 88 yeses in the chat right now that you're going to do this. Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. So now I'm going to do a little demonstration here. So who here uses ChatGPT or your own preferred AI tool? So maybe it's Claude AI or I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there, but I've just started using ChatGPT. Okay, good. So who here has used ChatGPT to help kind of come up with some ideas for some content? Yeah, AI tools. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to give you an example of like how to create some posts. So maybe I'm telling you these ideas and you're like, yeah, but there's still a block of like, what do I actually say? So let's see, we're going to share my screen here and we're just going to do a little live demonstration. I told you the energy of today's session is a little bit different because I'm going to actually walk you through some of these tips and show you. So the first thing is if you are looking to actually do a post about going live and you're like, I don't actually know what to say, you can just have a conversation with ChatGPT about what you want to do a post about. So you can say, I just got booked on a podcast with, I'll just say Douglas, Doug, and the show is about podcast guesting. Can you write a post to tell my audience how excited I am? And then you just ask it to write the post. Now, the thing with ChatGPT and AI tools is that they will do the work for you, but you shouldn't lean 100% on what they say. So it can be helpful to maybe you write the post and you send it to ChatGPT and say, hey, what do you think about this? Is there anything you would edit here? But just with that little prompt, it wrote a whole post for me. And then I would edit it. I would put my own spin on it. I would make it personalized. I would take away some of the emojis. I would take away some of like the bold, just so it doesn't look like I copy and pasted it from AI. But having a conversation with AI and just using it to do some of the heavy lifting, like I know Antonio said about like hashtags. What are some hashtags I can use for this content? And it'll give you like 1,000 hashtags that you can use. Yes. Okay, I'm just looking at the chat. Any thoughts on using Substack? I haven't used Substack, so I don't have any thoughts there. But yeah, it'll give you a lot of posts. So just once you get in conversation with ChatGPT, it can help you. Like, can you turn this into an Instagram carousel post? And then it gives you this, because like carousel posts are really popular where you just post like 20 photos and then put the text over the photo. So it'll help you break it up. Leverage ChatGPT to help you turn your content into social media posts. Super, super helpful. All right. So that is a little bit about how you can use ChatGPT. Now, brief invitation. If you haven't booked your consultation call, you're like, wow, these are so good. Like, book your call at interviewconnections.com/call. Our masterclass discounts and bonuses end on Monday at midnight. I want to see you taking action. Like this session is super actionable, a ton of tips on like what you can be doing. But again, if you're not getting booked consistently on the right shows, on the right quality shows with hosts that are going to set you up for success, you're not really going to be able to leverage these tips and actually implement them. So go to interviewconnections.com/call, schedule a free consultation. You'll speak with either me or Douglas or Julio from Team Interview Connections, and we'll talk about your business. We'll look at, is podcast guesting the right next investment for you? If it is, we'll go through the Amplified Authority program, make sure that it's the right next step and help get you signed on, because we've got some great discounts and bonuses that expire on Monday. So interviewconnections.com/call. All right. So who here wants a tip for creating more video content? Tell me as well, who here has not posted a video in more than a month or ever? You're like, I don't post videos, girl. Like, what are you talking about? So, all right. So video content. Video is important. It is a good way to allow people to get to know you, for people to hear you speak. Podcast hosts do want to be able to hear you speak before they have you on the show for the most part. Like, if we're representing you and you haven't been booked before, you don't have any videos, like the hosts do trust our recommendation. So if you don't have a lot of video content out there, I do recommend working with Interview Connections, having an agency that's going to back you up, because we're vetting you and the hosts know that. They know that we don't take on clients who are not great guests, but podcast hosts do want to be able to see you speak. They want to be able to hear you speak because it shows your personality. I know for me, like before I get on a call with somebody, like a consultation call, if I watch a video of them before the call, like I feel 10 times more comfortable going into the meeting because I've already experienced their personality a little bit. I'm prepared for like what their tone is, how they speak, things like that. And sometimes it totally doesn't match the headshot that they have or their photos on their website. I'm like, okay, now I feel like I actually know this person. People will feel like they know you once they hear you speak. And so that's why podcasts are great, but it's also why videos on social media are great, because people hear you on a podcast and then they'll take your call to action, or maybe they just go and they follow you on LinkedIn, they connect with you there, they follow you on Instagram. And so having video content is a really important part of your marketing strategy. And so again, what this comes back to is like, well, what should my videos be about? Like, what am I doing videos on? And so one thing that you can do to create more video content is to actually film yourself being interviewed. So one of our clients, Dr. Victoria Vaitsman, she is a cosmetic dentist in New York City and Beverly Hills. And I'm going to share my screen and just show you an example of how she does this. So this is an example of how like she's being interviewed right now on this video on a podcast that we booked for her. Interview Connections booked her on this podcast, and she's actually in her office. And so she's set up, she's got her laptop right there, but she strategically like is filming herself being interviewed from that point of view because it makes for really good social media content. and, her team edits it so it looks really, really good. But this is a fantastic way to use your podcast appearances to create social media content. I also did this in a different way the other day. Let me find it. It wasn't too long ago. So this is a reel that I made when I put my camera up on the little, phone holder here. And I just filmed myself. This is just kind of me in the green room chat. So I just had the video going for a few minutes. So it's like, B-roll. It just shows me talking. There's music here. So it's not me talking, it's just music. And then I put the tips over top. So film yourself actually speaking, and that will make for some really good video content. As she said here, Michaela, she's like, love this, great idea for repurposing content. I'm like, amazing. I need to add that to my training. So those are two different ways that you can film yourself. So, and the ring light that we send you as part of our podcast guest equipment bundle actually has a phone holder. It's going to mess up my lighting, but I do want to show you guys because this is a very interactive. So this is what it looks like. So it's a ring light, and you could just put your phone right here. So I just have it like on my desk off to the side, and then I put my phone there and, just film myself. And you can film yourself speaking. So you actually have the content of you speaking. You can film yourself and then put music over it and use it like an Instagram reel. But actually film yourself doing it, because it's a great tip for those of us who have service-based businesses where we're just working on our computer, because like watching us on our computer is probably like the most boring thing. But when you add some content and some music, it does like spice things up a little bit. The ring light looks like a plate. It does. But the thing I like about it, because it's not just a ring, it doesn't create I found that just the ring is like, it looks like a donut. It makes the lighting. I like how the lighting is very even. It's very even. It's good for the skin complexion. So yeah. So who here is going to start filming themselves being interviewed so you can get that B-roll and allow your audience to really get to know you and to connect with you in different ways? Perfect. Jack is going to start doing it. Linda's going to start doing it. Michelle's going to start doing it. Molly, Tasha, Eric. I love it. Oh, Amy's got a piece of advice here. If you're filming with a wall in front of you, point the light at the wall and it will act as a diffuser and you won't get that donut effect. Okay. Love it, Amy. Thank you so much for that tip. I know I need to get busy with this. Amazing. All right. I'm so, so happy. I love people that implement. So thank you so much. You're making me super happy with this. Now, your audience is made up of people who prefer to consume their content in many different ways. Some people prefer to read, some people prefer to just listen to audio, and then some people prefer to watch videos. So I want you to tell me in the chat right now, what is your preference? Like, how do you tend to take in your content? Is it reading, is it listening, or is it watching videos, or all of the above? Tell me in the chat. Okay. Listening or video? Listening, all of the above. Prefer videos. Listening, all of the above. Videos, but listen to podcasts while driving. All of the above. Reading, listening. So what you can see here is that everyone's a little bit different. And a lot of times we fall into this trap of assuming everyone in our audience is just like us. So if we prefer to read and we just, write written content online, but we don't have any videos or way for people to listen to us, all the people in our audience who actually don't like to read, like they prefer to listen, they prefer to watch videos, they're not going to connect with you at all. Like, you are totally missing out on that segment of your audience because you're not producing content that appeals to them. Our audience isn't all just like us. Everyone is a little bit different in how they like to consume content. I prefer to watch videos. Like, it kind of depends what the content is that I'm learning about. Some things I need like a bullet pointed list. Like, if I see a post on social media, like LinkedIn or Facebook, and it's a little long, if it keeps going, like if I have to scroll, I'm like, girl, I am out. I am not reading this post. This is a novel. My mind is elsewhere. I like podcasts and videos. Like, that is how, because I need to be like doing something with my hands or going on a walk, like for me to be able to like take in the information. And so it's important to have content online that everyone in your audience can consume so that you don't miss out on people depending on how they like to consume content. So you want to repurpose your interviews and turn them into different forms of content. Now, Now, podcasts are pretty much all video. I will say that much. When I first started doing podcast guesting and booking entrepreneurs on podcasts in 2013, probably for the first 5 years, everything was audio only. And that was like the appeal. People were like, oh, I love that I'm not on video. This is Skype, audio only. Like nobody did videos back in the day. But now everyone's using video. Almost everyone, I will say. Every now and then someone's like, nah, I'm still audio only. But for the most part, people use video. That's why we give you the light when you sign up with us. We want to make sure that you have good lighting. They have, Zoom or Riverside where they're capturing your video. And then they can use the clips of the interview, the video interview, put that on social media to promote the episode. They put the entire video interview on YouTube. So there's many different ways that people can consume the content. And so one really great way to repurpose that audio is to get the transcription of the interview and then turn that into written posts. Because if you are somebody that prefers to speak, prefers to do video, then you can take the transcription of what you talk about and go back to our friend ChatGPT and say, here's the transcript of this podcast that I just did. Can you turn it into a bunch of social media posts? And this is another helpful way to find things to be posting on social media and to stay engaged with your audience. Or you could just say, give me some ideas. I want to write them myself, but I just need some prompts. Another thing that you can do, let me know in the chat. I know I asked this in another session, but who here is a responder? Like if I ask you questions about your expertise and I ask you questions about your story, you'll have no problem answering them. Me. Okay, perfect. Me, Michelle says me, Tasha, Michelle. Yes. So, I want to answer Lindy's question real quick. Where do you get the transcription of the podcast? So you can actually get it on YouTube, assuming they post it there. YouTube will create a transcription, but there's ways that you can download the audio, like you can download the MP3 of the podcast and then use something like Otter or any type of transcription service and have them transcribe it. So there's different softwares that you can use. Okay. So I totally forgot what question I asked you guys when you all said me, but let me just keep going. That's how I'm talking about transcribing. Is there a time frame that it's okay to post from a previous recording? Oh, I mean, post everything all the time. That's the thing that's great about podcast guesting is all of this is repurposing. Thank you, Christine. I asked you if you're a responder. Perfect. So yes, if you're a responder, then it might be a little bit more challenging to just come up with content, come up with posts, come up with things to say and things to talk about. But as a responder, what you can do is you can have ChatGPT help you and just say, can you tell me what are the top 10 questions, describe your target audience, asks about your topic. That has really helped me come up with topics to talk about on Instagram stories and stuff like that. Because you can say one of the questions I get asked all the time is whatever the question is, and then you answer it. So you're kind of asking yourself the question, but you can, look back at your podcast appearances and see what questions are my hosts asking me, and then create videos and content around that. Perfect. Christine with the save. You guys have my back. Thank you. You can also turn your transcripts into a book. I actually did this. Where's my book? Hold on. I'm going to show you guys what I did. So back in 2016, I was just a few years into Interview Connections. I wanted to create a book. I wanted to make sure that I was showcasing my thought leadership. So I got into my Google Doc and I started writing and going to town. And about 12,000 words in, I was like, my God, I don't want to write a whole book because I am not a writer. But I wanted to have that big business card to showcase my expertise and my thought leadership and podcast guesting. So what I did, I had the outline of what I wanted to talk about, but I didn't necessarily want to write every chapter. But I had already talked about everything. I had already done podcast episodes and appearances about every topic that I wanted to have a book about. So I wrote the outline. I put for every chapter and topic that I was going to write about, I put a link to the podcast episode where I talked about it. And then I hired a ghostwriter and I said, here's all of the content. Can you write the book? And that was a great way to get the book written. Now people can use AI for that, but this was 2015. So we weren't really using AI to transcribe and write content for us. But this was a really great way to leverage podcast guest appearances to create written content. So that is another hot tip for repurposing your interviews. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how to create short video clips. This is the hottest tip that we've got. No, they're all really hot tips. I think I've got some even better ones coming up. But who here is familiar with Opus Flip or not? Let me know if you've heard of it, but I'm going to share my screen and I am going to show you. All right. So Opus is it's an AI tool where what you can do in this account is you can get a link to your podcast interview. So most of the time I grab the YouTube, like the link to my video interview on YouTube, and then you just drop the link here, you click this button, get clips in one click, and then within 10 to 15 minutes, all of the clips will be down here. They do expire after a couple of weeks, but I'll give you an example. These are all the clips from the podcast episode that Margie and I just did of our own podcast, which is called interviewconnections.com. And you can find that at interviewconnections.com/podcast. And it goes through and it just finds like these great 30 to 2-minute clips. So I'll just show you an example of one. So for a lot of people, it's a lead magnet. Like when I won't make you watch the whole clip right now, but you can see the transcript right here. I like Opus because it also gives you rating, like how likely it will go viral. So what's the hook? I got an A on the hook because that's like the first 5 seconds that people watch. Like, if they see that, are they going to want to watch the whole video? Does it flow? Is it valuable? Is it trending? You can also edit the clip. So maybe it's a 2-minute clip, but you're like, okay, this is too long. You can just find a place of the video and then click split, and then that cuts it up a little bit. You can also add transitions and voiceovers, and you can edit what the text is. So you can edit this, the size, the color. It's super easy. I find it to be very user-friendly, very intuitive. And then all you have to do, leave. Once you finish like whatever editing and you're happy with it, you just click download. And then once it's downloaded, you just go over, to social media and you upload it. You just click create, post, you put the caption on, and there it'll be in your reel. So a lot of our videos, have been repurposed. Like this is from Opus, a host sent me this. This was from Riverside, a podcast. So a lot of my content here is repurposed from podcast appearances. So that is how you can use Opus to create short form video content for your social media. All right. Antonio says, I love Opus. Mike says, I use it all the time. Opus Pro is how, Antonio says, Opus Pro is how I have those 100 clips. Michelle says, I learned how to do this on Riverside. Yeah, so Riverside uses it too. So a lot of podcast hosts record on Riverside, and then they'll give you all the clips from Riverside. So same type of thing. Opus is not free, but it's very inexpensive. It's a pretty inexpensive software. There's free trials. Yeah, Opus for repurposing content. So highly, highly recommend Opus for repurposing your content and creating these short form video clips. So write that down. There's a section in your workbook here to write down Opus clips and ChatGPT and any other AI software that you want to remember. So now we're going to take a break from AI a little bit and social media, and we're going to talk about your sales funnel. So who here is excited to learn how to repurpose your podcast and use them to close more sales? Type sales in the chat if you're excited to close more sales with your podcast guest appearances. Sales, 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 sales. Yes. Okay, amazing. Let's talk about it. So one thing that you can do to close more sales and to warm your, in session 2, I kind of opened that session talking about the importance of trust, right? When your prospective clients trust you, they're more likely to buy from you, right? They're going to trust your judgment. They're going to see you as that expert consultant, and they trust your guidance. And when someone trusts you and your guidance, they are more likely to want to work with you because they want your guidance more than just in this, consultation call. And so how do we earn that trust? We have them listen to us on a podcast. Now, people that hear you on a podcast, then book a call, they will come to that call because they heard you on a podcast. But that is not the only way that you can leverage your podcast guesting to close more sales. You can also take these podcast guest appearances, these recordings of interviews you've done, and send it to your prospective clients. Ask them to listen to it before they have a call with you. All right. So send it to your prospective clients before they meet with you and ask them to listen to it. So when you book a call with us at interviewconnections.com/call, in our confirmation email, like we'll send you an email to confirm. We'll say, here's the pricing, here's our price sheet. Get help, get to know us a little bit. We encourage you to listen to this 15-minute podcast episode with our founder, it's me, on the Podcast Growth Club. So I really like that podcast episode because it's just a great showcase of interview connections, of podcast guesting. It gives some good tips, so they'll get value from it. And then they come to the call, they're like, oh, you already talked about this in your podcast appearance. And that is why, like going back to session 1, talking about your podcast one sheet and your interview topics, it's really important to have interview topics that set you up to talk about the things that your prospective clients should understand before they have a call with you. Noelle says, gets them out of the messy middle crush objections. Yes. So think about, what are the objections? What are the obstacles that you're always having to get around and overcome in the sales process? What are the misunderstandings about what you do or your expertise or your strategy that, gosh, if your leads just understood that, they would say yes more easily. Talk about that on podcasts and then have them listen to your podcast appearances before they speak with you. Give them an opportunity to get to know you. Ask them to listen to your podcast appearance before the call. You will close more sales. You will increase your sales close rate if you give your leads an opportunity to hear you get interviewed on a podcast. Yes, Charles, send your podcast to your prospective client before you have a call with them. Absolutely. It sorts your ideal customers 100%. Also, you can use your podcast appearances to get more calls booked. So who here has an email list? Let me know in the chat. Just say yes. I won't forget what question I asked you. Who here has an email list? Yes. Okay, perfect. So we are here because we want more visibility. We want to get in front of our target audience, get more people onto our email list. But the thing is, a lot of times when we focus on visibility, we forget that we already have people in our audience who are dream clients. Who here has forgotten that? Like, there's been times where you're like, oh man, I forgot about this. I was so focused on going out and finding new people that I forgot. I already have dream clients who are opening my emails and following me. And so I want to share this so that you don't forget about the gold that you're actually sitting on. Like I don't know if it's like a parable or something, but it's just the visual is like, we're sitting on this chest of gold and we're sitting on it. We're like, how do I get more gold? How do I get more gold? And we forget to just sit and look at what we're sitting on, which is a pot of gold. You all have dream clients who are already following you. They are on your email list. They are opening your emails. They are watching your story on Instagram. They're following you on LinkedIn. And we're so focused on getting more leads that we forget that if we just nurture and provide value to the people that are already following us, we'll get more clients. We'll close more sales. So use your podcast guest appearances. Take these interviews that you've done on other people's shows and give them to your audience. Say like, I would love for you to go listen to this. I just did a podcast appearance on this show. I think you would really enjoy it. Go listen to it. Spice up the content that you're sending to your list. So who here is going to start getting on podcasts and send the links to your audience already that you have? Let me know in the chat if you're going to implement this tip. This is huge, especially if you have an email list and you don't email them very often. Start sending them links to podcasts, because when it's valuable content, you're going to want to send it to them. Okay. And then showcase your podcast appearances on your website, on your media page. So I'll share my screen and show you this. So Christina L. Woods, who is speaking tomorrow, she has an amazing media page. So if you go to her website and click on podcasts, you'll see her podcast appearances. And then she has booked me as a guest on your podcast. She also has it organized. So she's been on all of these different types of podcasts. And so if you click on them, you'll find the podcasts that speak to business owners, You'll find the podcasts that speak to, spiritual podcasts. So she has done, like, she's been with us for 3 years. So she's done a really nice job of showcasing her podcast appearances. So definitely add them to your website and show the people that are finding you, on Google and by referral, that you're a great speaker and that you're out there and they can listen to you. It makes it really, really easy. All right. Kimberly, I want to purchase a microphone, headphones, and light. The ATR 2100 is what I recommend. That's what I like to use, the Audio Technica 2100. I don't know what the brand is for the light, though. Makes sense to access all channel. What's her link? So ChristinaLWoods.com, ChristinaLWoods.com, and she's speaking tomorrow in session 4. So make sure you come back to watch her speak. So I want you to make sure you are writing these tips down. So in your notebook, write down the tips around how to use your podcast appearances to close more sales. I promise, I don't make many promises because in marketing, there's a lot of variables, but if you implement all of these tips, you can't not grow. Like, you will grow your business. If you get on podcasts consistently, you're getting on the right shows, you have the right topics, you're connecting with the right hosts, which guaranteed will happen when you work with Interview Connections in the Amplified Authority program. We will get you booked. And then as you're getting booked, you're implementing these tips. You're posting about the podcast before, during, and after the recording. You're leveraging the content that you're talking about on podcasts and repurposing them into video and written content. You're leveraging these podcast interviews with your email list. You're sending them to your existing audience. You're sending them to your leads before a sales call. If you do all of these things that I'm talking about in today's session, your business will grow. It can't not grow if you do all of this. But it does take implementation. It does take taking action. You actually have to take action. I know a lot of us want a strategy that's just going to grow our business without us doing anything, but you do have to take action. You have to get outside your comfort zone. You have to do the work. And nothing that I've told you here takes that much time. Like, the actual podcast interviews are maybe 30 to 45 minutes. You do 3 or 4 a month. That's like 2 hours of your life in a whole month where you're doing the interview. I showed you Opus. That takes maybe like 2 minutes. You pop the link in there and you give it 13 minutes to cook up, and then you post it again, maybe 5-10 minutes of your time. Like, none of what I'm telling you here is taking that much time, but it does take you actually implementing it and taking action. And so if you are ready to take action, you're like, I'm ready. I'm going to get off the fence here. I'm going to start getting visible. Like, it is time. I'm done being the best kept secret. I'm done taking free masterclasses, learning, and then not doing anything with the information. There's no prize for you just learning things. You actually have to implement if you want to see the results in your business. So if you are ready to see the results in your business and you want to join us at Interview Connections, go to interviewconnections.com/call. Book a consultation call. This is an opportunity to speak one-on-one with, most likely will be Douglas or Julio. I've mentioned I'm going on a little trip with my daughter, but you're going to speak with Douglas or Julio, who are absolutely wonderful. They will have a one-on-one conversation with you to get your questions answered. We want to make sure that this would be a good fit for your business. We don't do high pressure sales tactics. That's not how we roll. This is a true consultative conversation to make sure that podcast guesting is actually the right next step for your business. And if it is, to see if the Amplified Authority program is the right next step for your marketing. And so book your consultation call at interviewconnections.com/call. All of these tips are pointless if you're not actually getting booked, and we want to get you booked. That's why we offer a done for you service. So go to interviewconnections.com/call to book your consultation call. Our Amplified Authority program gets you on 30 podcasts guaranteed. You get 2 interview audits. We will create your podcast one sheet and your guest expert media kit. We have weekly group coaching calls. I have a monthly celebration call, so you get to see me every single month in the program. We have quarterly networking calls. It is the best podcast guesting service in the world. And we've been doing this for 12 years. So you truly are working with the elite podcast booking agency. So book your call at interviewconnections.com/call. Tomorrow in session 4, we have an amazing panel. So we have some incredible clients coming on to share their podcast guesting success story. We have clients who started with us a few months ago and have already had podcast hosts becoming their clients. So we've got clients that are going to share that. And we have people like Dr. Jolie, who signed up with us 5 years ago and is still working with us. So you're going to see a range of like how your business can grow over 5+ years of podcast guesting and what's possible in just the first few months. So that is tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's going to be the same Zoom link as today. And as a reminder, the replays expire on Monday night at midnight. And that is also when the discounts expire. The bonus gifts goes away. We're at the end of Q1. We are a quarter of the way through the year. There is a ramp up with podcast guesting. So if you want to see results in your business from being a guest on podcast, it's time. Take action, book your consultation call, get outside your comfort zone, and let's make it happen because you have a great business. You really impact the lives of the people you work with. You got to make it easy for them to find you. So go get interviewed on the podcast that they listen to, and we would love to make it so you get booked on those shows. The replays are at interviewconnections.com/replays. That's the landing page that has the replays. So you can go there. We're going to email and text it out. But yes, interviewconnections.com/replays. And who here is coming back for session 4 tomorrow? Who will I see tomorrow at session 4? Say me in the chat if I will see you at session 4. Amazing. I cannot wait to see you all there. Thank you so much for joining me today. Who here got value from today's session? Who here heard some tips that you're going to go implement, that you're going to fuel your social media content? You're going to take things to the next level. You're going to show your audience that you're a thought leader. I love it. Yes, 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 yes. Go implement, get booked on podcasts, book a call with us at interviewconnections.com/call. Let's get your story heard. I know that there's a fire inside you and you have a story to share. Work with us at Interview Connections. We will really be your cheerleader. And I'm not just saying that because I'm going to a cheerleading competition this weekend, so it's on my mind, but that is what we are for you. We will be your cheerleader. We are going to go out and tell podcast hosts why you are absolutely amazing, why you need to be on their show. We're going to do that work. So book your consultation call at interviewconnections.com/call. Interviewconnections.com/call. Book your call to speak with us at Interview Connections. And I will see you back here at session 4 tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow, everyone.